For those of you who are not part of our family, I'm just going to forewarn you of what's going to happen over here. Since I'm the youngest, even if I wasn't the youngest, they'd heckle me. But because I'm the youngest, they're going to heckle me even more. So just be prepared. We're going to probably stop a little bit. Maybe some crying. You never know what happens over here. It's very interesting that you mentioned the word journey, because the Bar Torah that I'd like to say is from last week's Parsha, Parshas Maseh, which is about journeys. And before that, I think I'd just like to express, I think, a feeling that the entire family has, and I'm sure Rose's family as well, is that we are very proud of our Ima. She definitely is a very unique person. And what?
Plural.
You see what he's
But I was specifically talking about my mother, which is allowed.
You're heckling stuff not from your siblings.
That's just the opening. That's the opening of the heckling. But we are very proud of her and her accomplishments. And she said that I can't really speak about her, but one thing that I think would be appropriate to mention in an accomplishment like a Siyum is that when it comes to my mother's approach towards learning or studying any area of knowledge, which is something that you'll see in a lot of my siblings as well, that she and my father have passed on, is that she really does it for the love of the learning itself, which is why she doesn't mind going over the same sugya 3 or 4 or 5 times, because to her, it's more important to really understand in an in-depth way of what you're studying. That's more important than actually finishing the Masechta, which I'm not surprised that she finished the Masechta because of her capabilities. She's probably, far more capable than I am in finishing the Masechta. But I'm surprised just because of the way she approaches learning. And I'm serious. If you approach learning that you're trying to get the most out of each sugya and each area, whether it's a Rashi or anything that you're studying, it's hard to cover ground. And that's always the big debate amongst many great scholars who are well known, whether to cover ground or depth. But we're not going to go there right now. I'll just share with you my thought from Parshas Maseh. So there are many interpretations when the Torah discusses the different journeys that Bnei Yisrael went through in Mitzrayim. So there are a number of different explanations of why they use the Maseh. What does it mean, Eila Maseh? Why did they use that word, that term? And in English, I guess that would mean journey, right? And so Rashi gives an explanation, and then he mentions a Medrash Tanchuma, and I thought, since my mother loves Medrash, we'll go with the Medrash. So the Medrash goes that they compare it to Hashem, they compare Hashem's taking Bnei Yisrael through the desert to a king whose son got sick, and he took him to a faraway place to find a cure and get better, and when he decided to go back, or on his way back, he started pointing out to the son, oh, over there, that's where you slept, and over there, that's where you had a headache, and over there, that's where, I don't remember the third one, whatever it was, whatever experience that they had at that location. And this is a nice Rashi, and but the question is, what does it mean? What's the comparison to the Bnei Yisrael? So I think you could explain this measure as follows. I think what you could say is that if you look at a king, so what is the measure telling us? The king, they don't really appreciate the little things. They're more focused on wars and conquering land and themselves. But what happened is that his son was going through an experience, and because of that experience, right, he started reflecting on life and appreciating the little things that was done for his son. And not only did he reflect on those things that were done and the places that they went to on their journey, but he used those as vehicles of reflecting on himself, on his own life, on appreciation of the little things that he has in his life. So I think the way it's comparable to Bnei Yisrael is that Bnei Yisrael, they went through a lot of difficult times, right? They went through a lot of difficult times through the Midbar. They messed up a lot, kind of like kids, you know, adults too. But they went through these difficult times, and there's a certain hashgacha, and each masa, right, each journey was an opportunity for Bnei Yisrael to reflect upon themselves, to figure out, hey, what kind of nation are we? What are our qualities? Where do we have positive qualities? Where do we tend to mess up? And that, reflecting back on those journeys, is what allows Bnei Yisrael to be such a great nation and to be ready to go into Eretz Yisrael. So I think that we could really take a lesson for life in general, that everything we go through is a journey. But specifically when you go through a Masechta, and you go through a Masechta in depth, right, that depth allows you, listen, I'm sure a lot of times it's hard to wake up, or it's hard to, travel to the city, or go on the train, or to have the perfect situation where you're going to be learning. Everybody goes through those things, and a lot of times, people give up in those circumstances. But when you have the determination, and you have a goal, and you put all that effort in, and you go through those experiences, it allows you to reflect on your own life and really help you grow as a person. And, okay? Not bad. Okay? And I think, how do I say this? I'll just say it straight. I think as people get older, okay?
Admirable.
I think that it's, no matter what age you are, I see the 20-year-olds, okay? I think it's easy to get satisfied with what you're doing and kind of like just continue on that path. But I think you could say for people like my mother and Rose and a lot of people in this room, you could say that they create opportunities for themselves, and they use those opportunities to still keep on growing and keep going in the proper direction. And I guess a bracha is that we should continue learning from them, but for themselves that they should continue in this path and always growing and taking from their learning opportunities.
And moving forward on your
And moving forward.
Amen.
Oh,